I bet at some point you have been told that you only need to hold a stretch for about 30 seconds, right? That's a cute little stretch, but the thing with those short stretches is that they don't actually do what many people think they do. You go do something like that, and then maybe you feel a little less tight for a little bit, but then an hour or so later, you're right back to your old self, right back to a tight situation where you started. And the question is why? And it's because you didn't actually change your tissues with that. You just temporarily altered your nervous system's tolerance to that stretch. To actually remodel your connective tissue, we have to look at biology. Specifically, we have to look at what happens to your cells when the right type of stress is applied. To change your anatomy, we have to talk to your fibroblasts. These are the special cells responsible for creating and maintaining your connective tissue. Think your tendons, your ligaments, your fascia. When you apply a stretch, you aren't just pulling on a muscle, you're actually physically deforming the fibroblasts within the connective tissues. Imagine taking a spherical cell and pulling on it from opposite ends. The mechanical pulling or tension changes the cell's shape. And as that cell is deformed, it physically stretches the cell's outer membrane and all the contents within the cell. This drives a very special process known as mechanotransduction. That's the cell's ability to convert mechanical tension into a chemical signal. And here's where it gets incredible. When that fibroblast is stretched, it actually deforms the cell's nucleus as well, which exposes parts of that cell's DNA. So by physically stretching the cell, you're giving the DNA access to start producing new proteins and fibers that it needs. Essentially, your stretch is giving your cells a biological order to go build more tissue. So you're using mechanical inputs to drive a genetic output. But, and this is the catch to this whole process, is that the process isn't instant. It's not gonna happen in 30 seconds. And this is why those cute little 30-second stretches, they don't actually do what needs to be done. For a fibroblast to undergo that deformation and actually trigger that DNA response, it needs sustained, uninterrupted tension. If you hold a stretch for just 30 seconds, you've barely made it through the initial resistance of just your nervous system to that stretch. To actually change the tissue, you need to hold that position for several minutes straight. It takes time for the cells to actually register the stress, for the nucleus to deform, and for the protein synthesis process to even begin. Not only does prolonged tension drive the process of making new tissue, it also tells the newly created tissue how to organize itself. You see, the cells, they're there producing new tissue fibers which align themselves parallel to the felt tension, which makes tissue stronger and more compliant to movement. So if you want to build more resilient, compliant, connective tissues, you have to be willing to commit that time. In the Resilient for Life system, we don't stretch for a count of 30. We hold positions for several minutes and even perform muscular contractions while we're in those positions to funnel tension into those fibroblasts to induce that cellular change. It's the difference between doing a quick chore and doing the work that's actually required to truly upgrade your body's architecture. So the next time you're in your hip 90-90 position or working on your pails and rails, remember you aren't just hanging out in that position. You're sending direct chemical signals to your cells to reinforce and remodel your tissues. Respect the time requirement, keep the tension consistent, and you will see actual changes in your mobility. Let's get to work.